I want to start with the Bussin With The Boys. Will Compton and Taylor Lewan have a podcast. They tape it not far from my studio here. We're in the Berry Hill area of Nashville. These guys have a very popular podcast on Barstool. They interviewed Donald Trump, and Donald Trump cracked a joke that's pretty humorous, and just Donald Trump being Donald Trump, he's kind of fearless. Let's play this clip, and then I want to tell you how the media reacted. Play the clip of Trump from Bussin' With The Boys.
And I played football, too. I didn't particularly like it.
What position were you?
No, I didn't like it. I played tight end.
Yeah? Can block,
and I
can
didn't
catch
like,
the whole thing.
You had some hands?
We got Delaney Walker
I
behind.
could catch the ball good, but I didn't particularly like having some guy that was lifting weights all day long and came from a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he sees me, and they were tackling hard.
That's Trump being Trump, locker room talk, guy talk. It's
so
humor.
relatable. So relatable.
Yeah.
You know?
Taylor Lewan and Will Compton laughed along like they're supposed to. Somehow the Washington Post, Steve, has turned this into some sort of racial incident, and they wanted Lewan and Will Compton to talk about, why did you laugh at that joke? Will Compton handled it the way you should handle it. He taped his response to the Washington Post. Let's play that clip.
All right, as you guys know, our latest episode of Bussin' With The Boys, we had on Donald Trump. And if you want to go watch it, it's on all of our channels, on all of our platforms, and go check it out. But we knew that there'd be a reaction. Good, bad, media would react, and we are getting our first media encounter. The Washington Post has reached out for comment regarding a remark made during the episode that's gaining online attention, including from Trump's opponent in the presidential race. The remark they're referring to that they want comment on is a part of the episode where we're talking ball and how Trump used to play tight end, would have locked him up. And he essentially makes the comment, I wouldn't want to get hit, or I didn't want to get hit by somebody who's been lifting weights all day long and came from a bad neighborhood. Taylor and I laughed. They want our comment. Their question is, why did we find that amusing? And you already know what they want to do with this thing. You want to know what kind of picture they want to paint. You want to know what kind of box they want us to put us in. You want to know, their vision for this entire question on asking that. And number one, I thought it was funny because Trump is sitting there admitting that he is not built for the A-gap, nor is he a tight end that was built for catching a slant over the middle, only to get his vertebrae, his L4 and L5 compressed by a middle linebacker that probably goes on to play at Nebraska and arguably 10 years in the NFL. But just knowing that the direction they want to go with this thing as they write whatever article that they're trying to write. And they asked if Will or Taylor would provide a comment on why we found that amusing. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll publicly tell you guys my comment. So Washington Post, here's my comment about why I thought it was amusing.
Go ahead and give him the slow golf clap or a fast golf clap.
Oh, God, Will, the city of Compton. Now, I have a question, though. Seriously. Did he hold that in, or was that a whoopee cushion? Now, that's the question that I have, because the timing was impeccable. But, Jason, you played ball. And I think Deion Sanders actually alluded to it, the difference in what you want to recruit in an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. He actually pointed out that there's a mentality, and you hear this a lot in boxing and football. That guy's a dog, or we need to recruit dogs, D-A-W-G, right? When they talk about a D-A-W-G, they're not talking about a Huxtable from the suburb. You know what they're getting at. And why did they laugh? Because they thought it was funny. So when people ask me questions of that nature, hey, Steve, why'd you tweet this? I just tweet right back because I can. That's why. It's really that simple. You really don't owe them an explanation, but if they want that, you could also say, well, Steve, you said this. The other one that I go to, yeah, comma, and. These people are so used to being placated to, they can't actually handle real or any perceived pushback. And congratulations. I love those guys, by the way. They did a great episode with Bo Pelini a couple of years ago. One of the best episodes I've ever heard. Kept me laughing for about 2 hours.
Listen, this is what Trump did, and he did. It's because he knows people, he knows the environment. He's been around athletes in a real way, and so Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, they come from a locker room. From childhood all the way through the pros. They've been in football locker rooms where nothing's off limits. Jokes are cracked. The conversation is more honest and real, and so Trump cracked a joke that's a locker room type joke. It's not remotely offensive to anybody that's involved with athletics. But now that we've pushed all these betas and people that don't care about sports into the sports lane where they're evaluating it, they're taking it out of context. But the whole thing reminds me of like a legitimate conversation I had with one of my best friends from college and one of my best friends in life. He's like a brother to me. And I'm going to use the names. This is a real person and probably not the greatest story, but it's like Tim Walton was the best player on my Ball State football team. He had a cup of coffee with the Detroit Lions. He was the MVP of our 1988 team that should have gone undefeated, got top 25 votes after starting 6-0. But anyway, Tim Walton's a great player. We lucked into getting Tim Walton as our middle linebacker because he was supposed to go to Michigan State. But during the summer, he got shot in the shoulder at a Burger King, I believe. And Michigan State backed off of him, and we got him. Tim's parents were divorced. He's raised by his father, grew up in Detroit, rough and tumble. Tim's got a son who a little bit taller than Tim, probably 6'2", and was a great football player as a kid through high school. And I can remember me and Tim had a conversation where I was like, Tim, little Tim's playing linebacker. I think he should play tight end. And, I know he's a great linebacker at the junior high school level, but I'm saying, Tim, at that next level, kids like Tim Jr., who come from an ideal situation. Tim and his wife have been married now 30-plus years, live in a great home, had a home right next door to the mayor. I was like, two-parent kids don't make the best linebackers. You weren't a two-parent kid, Tim. Your son is a two-parent kid. Switch him to tight end. Tim, and plus Tim Jr., he's just barely 6'2". Tim wanted to play linebacker. That's where Tim played. And he got recruited by a Big Ten school. I think he went to Syracuse initially or whatever. But them ghetto kids from the rougher backgrounds ended up being better linebackers than Tim Jr. It is what it is. This is the way the conversations go down when people really talk about football, and we had that conversation in private. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.